Hey there, witches! In this video, I'm going to show you how to get the best possible start in Witchspire and progress through the game much faster. The very first thing you should be doing is collecting absolutely everything you come across while exploring. Unlike some survival games where certain resources quickly become obsolete, almost everything in Witchspire has a purpose somewhere down the line. Wood is needed for structures, crafting stations, and progression-related recipes. Verdant bloom flowers can be processed into verdant bloom petals, giving you a reliable source of healing whenever you're out fighting enemies. Berries are another easy source of healing that you should always pick up when you see them. Cotton flowers are used to create cotton, which you'll eventually need for hearth upgrades, and many other resources scattered throughout the world become important later on. The general rule is simple: if you can harvest it, gather it. Future you will thank you when you don't have to go backtracking across the island looking for materials you ignored earlier. Another thing many players overlook are monster camps. Whenever you come across one, take the time to clear it out and search the area thoroughly. Many camps contain chests hidden around the campgrounds or tucked away inside nearby caves. These chests often contain gold and other useful items that can give you a nice boost early in your adventure. Speaking of loot, one of the best investments you can make early is building storage chests. Your inventory fills up surprisingly quickly, especially if you're following the first tip and collecting everything you find. The good news is that resources stored inside chests can still be used for crafting. You don't need to manually pull materials out every time you want to make something, so feel free to store everything away and keep your inventory organized. Once you begin unlocking crafting stations, don't forget to assign familiars to them. Familiars aren't just companions that follow you around. They can significantly improve the speed of crafting and processing stations. Structures such as the workbench become much more efficient when a familiar is helping out, allowing you to spend less time waiting and more time progressing. But most importantly, the spinner, which is the structure you use to make threads or cotton or anything fiber-like, requires the presence of a familiar called the lamloof or a shardling. Only by adding these familiars to this building will it begin to operate. This leads directly into the next tip: fight every familiar capable creature you encounter. One of the biggest mistakes new players make is ignoring creatures that can eventually become companions. The easiest way to identify whether a creature can become a familiar is by paying attention to what happens after it's defeated. If you defeat a creature and see a spirit rise into the air and disappear, that creature belongs to the familiar category. This doesn't mean you'll immediately be able to bond with it, but it does mean that creature has the potential to become a familiar. On the other hand, enemies such as froblins don't produce this spirit animation at all. Those are simply hostile enemies and cannot be bonded with. As you continue defeating familiar-type creatures, eventually one of their spirits may linger behind instead of disappearing. When this happens, you can interact with the spirit and form a bond, turning that creature into your familiar. Because of this, I recommend fighting pretty much every familiar creature you come across. Even if you're not actively looking for a companion, every battle gives you another opportunity to obtain one. Over time, you'll build up a collection of familiars that can assist both in combat and in crafting. To make this process easier, keep an eye on the Luminary's skill tree and invest points into the Spirit Charmer skill whenever possible. This increases the likelihood of spirits lingering after a creature is defeated, making it much easier to form bonds and expand your collection of companions. While we're talking about luminaries, always keep an eye out for luminary shrines while exploring. These are easily one of the most valuable discoveries you can make in the early game. Every time you interact with a luminary shrine, you'll receive a free luminary point that can immediately be invested into your progression. These points can be used to unlock entirely new recipes, improve existing skills, increase your stats, and gain access to many powerful upgrades throughout the luminary's tree. Since luminary points are normally earned through progression, finding shrines essentially gives you free advancement. Whenever you spot one during exploration, make sure to activate it before moving on. Another location that many players underestimate is the Alder Tree. Whenever you come across one, there's a big likelihood that it has important resources around it, like chests and the shimmer dust. Shimmer dust becomes incredibly useful later on because it can be processed into shimmering ink. Shimmering ink is one of the primary ingredients used to craft ritual scrolls. These scrolls act as powerful consumable spells that can be used during combat, giving you additional options beyond your normal wand and spellblade attacks. As combat encounters become more challenging, having a collection of ritual scrolls can make a huge difference, so it's worth gathering shimmer dust whenever you encounter older trees rather than waiting until you suddenly need it. One of the biggest progression milestones in the game is unlocking broom flight. As you explore the world, make sure to activate every flight point you come across. Progressing through these objectives eventually leads to unlocking your broom, which completely changes how you travel around the map. Once you can fly, gathering resources becomes dramatically faster, distant objectives become easier to reach, and exploration becomes significantly more efficient. The sooner you unlock flight, the faster your overall progression will be. If you're unfamiliar with the procedure of unlocking broom flight, then I have a solution for you as long as you've progressed far enough into the main story. After you defeat a certain boss, such as the Alunian Golem, you'll get the material called Tear of Alun. Through the use of this tear, you can upgrade your hearth from level 3 to level 4 through it, and then you can unlock the broom since the only requirement it needs is a level 4 hearth. The recipe for this is fairly simple, only using spirit dust, which you can get from defeating familiars, and fine wood. There are a few fine wood trees available in the beginner area. One can be found just south of the location of the first abandoned hearth. Once you locate it, simply use a logging sickle to harvest the tree and collect the fine wood. The next step to this puzzle is to find the flight pillar and activate it. From the location of the first abandoned hearth, just to the north of it is the pillar right here. But to activate it, you must get to this small island to its right, and then just follow up some steps that lead up to an orb with a rainbow light attached to it. Once you interact with it, boom! You finally unlocked flight. Just equip your broom onto your character and press V. Now you can fly across the sky and travel within the first 2 islands however you want. Now let's talk about gemstones, because a lot of players end up worrying about where to farm them. The truth is that you usually don't need to go out of your way to specifically hunt for gemstones. Almost every enemy in the game has a chance to drop one, although the drop rate is fairly low. On top of that, gemstones can also occasionally appear while mining resource nodes such as copper, iron, gold, and other ores. What this means is that if you're following all the previous tips, clearing monster camps, defeating creatures while exploring, bonding with familiars, gathering resources, and mining every ore deposit you come across, you're naturally rolling for gemstones dozens if not hundreds of times throughout your playthrough. Instead of treating gemstones as a resource that needs dedicated farming, think of them as a bonus resource that accumulates naturally in the background while you're doing everything else. If you're gathering everything, mining every ore, and defeating enemies as you travel, eventually you'll reach a point where gemstones simply start appearing in your inventory without you even noticing. So don't stand around farming a single creature hoping for gemstones. Just keep exploring, keep mining, keep fighting, and sooner or later they'll practically start dropping into your lap. Finally, don't rush progression too quickly. Spend time gathering resources, clearing camps, collecting familiars, activating luminary shrines, harvesting valuable materials, and upgrading your hearth whenever possible. Building a strong foundation early on will make the rest of the game significantly easier and save you from having to backtrack later for resources you skipped. And with that, your journey in Witchspire is no longer just survival, it becomes mastery. Every resource gathered, every bond formed, and every step into the unknown shapes the witch you are destined to become. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next side quest.